Hey everyone, welcome to Around the ACL. Michelle Thompson here with Trey Ryder and Jake Brandon coming off of a long weekend. Very, well, a lot went on this past weekend at Open number one, including all of our typical Open events, but also the draft, the Pro Teams draft, and the Rookie Showcase, and our Media Day. As we crammed a lot in a very short period of time. Trey and I debuted the Cornhole After Dark series that we'd like to not repeat. So hopefully a one and done. But we did it, broadcasting till 2:30 in the morning and getting kicked out by the cops. So that's got to be a first for the
Yes.
ACL. So
I haven't done
hopefully
that. I
I'm
think we got kicked out in like 2018 out of a venue, but we haven't done
okay.
that since then. Let's
It's
not
been
do
a
that.
minute. Let's not do that again. But we're here and we're ready to talk about it. We've got so much to get into. Obviously, recapping everything that happened at the Open, but also the draft and the rookie showcase. And there were some new partner announcements that happened over the week as well. So we'll get into that. But yeah, so Trey, did you get to take yesterday off at least Monday?
I mean, I was at the hospital all day until 8 p.m. So
Oh,
I guess so. I
that's not.
was on my laptop. I did. I mean, I was kind of working just because we were in kind of a wait and see mode. But I'm back at home today, which is
Great
good. I
news.
did sleep in my own bed last night, which is the first time I got 8 hours of sleep in like a week, which was awesome.
That's
So
that's
I'm
needed. That's
doing
needed.
better, but yeah, no, recovering on the way back. But yeah, it was a long weekend for everybody. I think everybody's a little bit. Man, we did that. We covered it, and I think kudos to everybody involved. It was a big weekend, kind of kicking off the season, and I think yeah, everybody deserves a couple days off, and then we get to execute the rest of the year. But it was a great first event. Loved the rookie showcase and how that turned out. I was watching afar with the draft, and you guys killed it as usual. It was just. It was a great weekend when Schmake Schmannon's not in presence. So as long as he's not there,
Oh
it's gonna be a
man.
good event.
Wow.
Well, he
I
was
was just about to give all of you guys credit for, going strong that entire weekend, but that's all out the window. Now you guys stunk. That live stream was
Well,
terrible.
why are you grouping me into what Trey said? Hold on a second.
Oh, just got sassy towards the end. What can I say? No, but for real, dude, I got to give you guys kudos. That was a long weekend. It was an incredible weekend from an outsider's perspective. There's a lot of stuff to watch, a lot of late nights, just live streaming. I know I got on my flight to go to the ACL College Tour in Minnesota, and you guys were live. And by the time I landed, I took the 30-minute Uber to the hotel. I got settled in, got some dinner, lay down in bed. You guys were still live, covering everything, and it was incredible to watch. I got to give you guys credit because that was a lot to do, but you guys kicked the crap out of it, even if you were there till 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah,
kudos to you guys.
it was yeah.
Shout out Meesh. She was a trooper. I think Meesh was on air like 10, 12 hours
Yeah.
on. No, I think it was like 12 hours probably
It
on
was like
Friday.
16. Like because it was at 9 before the break. So I don't know what we were at after. Like after before dinner, I was like at hour 9. So then came back and did the night. So it was like yeah, it was a lot.
That was a lot,
It's
but
a
you
lot.
guys did it. And then, we won't talk about it much today, but I think it is worth saying. Like I thought, I was really impressed with you guys being able to execute on media day, and that becomes something that is, I got to stop by pretty much every station except the interview station, just because the doors were locked and everybody was doing interviews. But like, I think media day just continues to be something that's really cool. Getting content of all of our pro players in a number of different stations and being creative with that. I thought the headshot station looked fantastic this year. The Jack's Heroes station where he's just getting different footage and different settings. He was like wearing this big device and like capturing. I mean, it was really cool to watch. Just really impressed across the board with Media Day, and I just can't wait to see everything that kind of comes out of it in the end.
I will tell you, the videographer for the interview was an outside person we hired. It wasn't an ACL staff member. And so he doesn't know anything about what we do. And of course, he says he plays cornhole in his backyard, but that's the extent of it. And he was blown away. He was like, this is crazy. Like, first of all, the stories, but also just we have a 12-year-old, then we have a 60-something-year-old, then we have, kids in high school, and then we have people that have jobs, and we have people that do it full time. Like, after each one, he would just look at Matt and I and be like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like, this is crazy. So he felt the specialness of it. And every single person I think every person we pretty much asked, how has cornhole changed your life? And when he would hear those answers, he's like, there's a theme. Like, there's something really special about this sport and this league that he picked up on. That feels really cool to get that information, because we all feel that and we're in it. So to have someone on the outside notice it, like, it felt like a great way to kick off the season.
Yeah, I feel like every time you get somebody that's from the outside that jumps in, they feel that for the first time. They're like, wow, there's something here. There really is something here, which makes it really cool.
I will also say really quickly, I don't oftentimes get a FOMO when one of these big events going on, especially when I'm out doing my own thing that I'm really enjoying. The college sports shop we had at the University of Minnesota this past weekend was exceptional. It was so much fun. But, still watching all these live streams, watching everybody in Rock Hill, albeit a long day, but you guys still look like you had a blast and were enjoying the entire time. I really wish I could have been there to enjoy that with you all. But
we did too.
I don't know.
What do we have to pay to get Jake here right now?
All right, Jake, we do the first event. You can handle the last 17 for the year. How's that?
And the crazy thing is, I'm pretty sure I am actually. Besides like one or two, I'm pretty sure I'm going to every other one the rest of the year. I'll be there.
Well, the thing is, the schedule won't be like this anymore. Like, you guys are going to be done by like before dinner time now with all these different events. You're going to be
knock on wood. We'll see.
We can only hope. All right, let's get into it. Let's start off with singles. Devin Harbaugh was the winner there. I remember hearing, I can't remember if it was in the chat or something, that was like, Devin Harbaugh can't close, blah, blah, blah. I was like, to be clear, he can close on the open. He has won himself some open titles. He has no problem doing it there. So congrats to Devin for another open title. And then doubles. Kingsbury Rawls, we were talking about it in the car, perhaps one of the biggest sleeper teams. I don't know if you can call it a sleeper team, but I feel like we don't always pick them to win. Not that we're surprised they won, but when I'm thinking about hot takes and things like that, they're not typically at the top of my mind. You think about some of the super teams and the new teams, but there they go, getting it done yet again. So Trey, thoughts on singles or doubles?
Yeah, kind of thoughts across both. First on Harbaugh's front, I know everybody's going to roll their eyes here, but it's technically Devin Harbaugh's first ever Pro Tour singles victory. I mean,
what?
It is, because technically now that this is a pro event that he just won.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yes.
So technically, because this is part of the Pro Tour, this is part of pro standings. Devin Harbaugh is your number one player in the world for 2024, 2025 right now, right? We're not going to run standings before the second event because there's no point. It's just one event, right? But after this, if he goes out and wins Open number 2, he's going to be the number one player until we hit April, right? Because there's only 2 Opens that do count towards pro standings this year. So because of that, Harbaugh does a great job. He maxes out his Open points if he wins one more of these before we get to April and then the signatures kick in. So yes, is it a little bit of an eye roll that he just won his first ever pro singles event? Yes, I get it, because it's kind of, it's the same level, right? Now, he still hasn't won that big signature victory, right? What we formerly called nationals. He hasn't won that yet. And I still think that's the monkey that he needs to get off his back.
The broadcast court. That's the problem.
That broadcast court right now is just is his kryptonite right now. So he's got to figure out how to do that. Now, having said all that, this is Devin Harbaugh's 5th Open singles win. 5, okay? When you talk about the grand scheme of things, there's not many players out there that can even come anywhere close to what Harbaugh has been able to do. If I look at open singles titles, let's go through some of the all-time greats right now and what these guys have got. Trey Birchfield, 2. Matt Guy, 3. Jamie Graham, 1. Mark Richards has 7. Eric Davis, 0. Adam Hissner, 0. Cheyenne Bubenheim, 1. Ryan Windsor, 1. Alex Rawls, 4. Tony Smith, 1. Fisher Hamilton, 2. Even going down like Alan Rawls, Alex Hicks both have 3. Josh Holland's got 3. Devin Harbaugh has 5, folks. We're talking about the second winningest player now of all time at the open level when it comes to singles, only behind Mark Richards. That is a feat and something that Harbaugh should celebrate, regardless if he still believes he can't get over that hump on the other end. 2 other people I want to talk about when it came to singles. Maybe a third. So one of them is Bryce Forbes. This was one of those elite players that I did not see coming out near the top of my list and being someone that I thought was going to be right there at the end.
I couldn't get him off my court.
Yeah, he was constantly on that streaming court, and he played exceptionally well. So this is someone that we need to pay attention to throughout this season and seasons to come if he can continue to build on this. Bryce Forbes, if we talk about a trajectory, reminds me a little bit of maybe a Logan Chamberlain, someone that played, if people forget, people will probably forget, he played at the National High School Championship, so high school versus college, a little bit of age difference there. But when he competed, he was not close to the best player in that building for the National High School Championship we talked about 10 months ago, okay? But now, after he's given some time to continue to evolve, is starting to make that jump and being able to compete at the highest level. Not very different than what we saw from Logan Chamberlain. This is someone that at the college level was a good college player. He definitely wasn't the best college player, but then took advantage of the extra development time to really come out of his shell, really start playing at a high level, and is now one of the best pro players in the world. So interested to see how Bryce Forbes does throughout the rest of the season. Really, really impressed with Jackson Gore. I think Jackson Gore this is a guy that a month and a half ago, folks, behind the scenes, was trying to see if there was a way that he could take a step back, maybe get his college eligibility back, explore what that looked like, seeing if he could kind of hit the reset button. And he was kind of all in his head. And that can really, really shake your confidence when you start having those type of doubts. Now, here's the good news for Gore is I think he had a really successful August and September in tournaments that were not at the pro level. He went to a couple big cash tournaments, won some money there, maybe won a regional. He tried these different events, and he started to get that confidence back, and you really saw it at Open number 1. And he is kind of getting closer to where he was a few years ago as one of those top players. And now I think Jake may be going through that same process that Jack was last year, right? You see these ebbs and flows and confidence level that can really determine someone's ability. Really, really interested there. And then finally on the singles side, he didn't come all the way towards the end, but I saw a different Mark Richards than I saw last year, which keeps me optimistic. And I got a chance to interview Mark Richards this past weekend in one of the interview segments, and he said, plain and simple, I'm shooting more airmails this year, and I'm going to have absolutely no fear on the boards. And that's something that I didn't have last year. And so I think that mentality is switching a little bit there. Quickly on the double side, just like I really thought there was a surprise when I saw, Harbaugh's got 5 singles victories. Kingsbury and Rawls, 0 doubles titles for either one of them prior to getting to this event. And it wasn't as if I thought that they were a dominating team. I was more just taken aback by, 0 doubles titles. I thought maybe they would have snuck 1 or 2 in there across the past 3 years, but no, they haven't. So these two finally get that win together. Felt like a long time coming, and we got power rankings coming out. Me, you, and Anthony, Jake, all had Kingsbury and Rawls in that top 5, and some of us had them really, really high up the rankings. Let's just say that. So, people are really starting to buy into what Kingsbury and Rawls do. It goes to show you that you don't have to have a roll bag in order to be one of the best teams in the world, you just have to be able to play a defensive game when you need it. And you need to be able to get in and around bags and use different shot selections to do that. So excited. They're a fun team to watch. They bring a lot of good energy. Love their approach to the game. And I hope that Kingsbury and Rawls can continue their run that they got so far.
So they're just always getting to the end, but they've never crossed the finish line?
Correct, which is crazy. I almost started to think about that out loud. I was like, whoa, I could have almost, if I had known this, I probably would have played the finishing card, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think of how many times they've been there. We're talking about them, but they've never been able to do it as a doubles team. Now, I think where our minds get a little bit skewed is that they have won individual singles events, right?
Mhm.
Rawls has won 3 opens. Kingsbury won a pro shootout about a year and a half ago. So they do have some experience winning at a high level. It's just together as a team, they hadn't yet got that victory.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. I would have assumed they'd have 2 or 3. I don't know. I don't know why. That's so weird. All right, Jake, thoughts on singles and doubles?
Yeah, Trey just got done talking with doubles, so I'll continue the doubles train with Alan and Chris. I mean, if you go back to last season, that's 2 really, really good finishes for them in a row. Obviously, they came up just short, the runners up at the 2024 World's Doubles Pro Championships there. So I can only imagine that after getting over the hump and getting this first signature win for them too, that they're only going to get better and better. And like you mentioned, Trey, yeah, they're in my top 10 on those power rankings, and I think rightfully so. Now, the thing that really confuses me, though, and I don't know if confused is really a good word, but I feel like they never do anything flashy. Now, I know I didn't really have a chance to watch any of the doubles broadcasts live, but I went back and watched. I watched the bracket final, their semifinal, and the overall finals, and I'm not going to say I was super impressed by them. They don't, like you mentioned, they don't have a roll, they don't cut, they don't do any of these crazy shots. They slide bags, they block occasionally, and they hit most of the airmails that they attempt. But in the couple of games that I watched, they didn't really have to do any of that decision making at all. They wait for their opponents to miss and they take advantage. And that's really where that team sets them apart. A lot of times when you watch a team and you see their opponent miss, a lot of times they'll miss right next to them. You don't really see that ever with Alan and Chris. They will two you to death. They'll just score 1s and 2s, maybe a 3 occasionally, but they will always capitalize when you miss a shot. And if you look at it statistically, they only had a 9.69 PPR through the entire day, but they had over a 1.0 differential. That means they were consistently holding their opponents to under an 8.7 PPR, which in the pro and elite division is absolutely absurd. So that just goes to show that they can lay blocks when they need to, they can slide bags when they need to, and they can capitalize on their opponent's misses. And I also think that Alan and Chris just really like the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. You think about it. Kingsbury was the world singles final runner-up in 2023. Alan Rawls won open singles last year at the first open, and they were obviously both just world doubles runners-up last season and get the doubles win here. So you got to give them credit. They love the Rock Hill Sports and Events Center. I think if we had every single event here, they would be the number 1 team in the world. I'll tell you that right now. Now we move back over to this to the singles side. Devin Harbaugh, absolutely no surprise. Death, taxes, and Devin Harbaugh winning singles at an open. You mentioned that was his 5th open singles title of his career. And that was his 3rd out of the last 4 singles events if you go to last season. He won open number 14. He won open number 15. Played in the finals of the 16th and final open last year. Shout out to Ethan Walker to preventing the 4-peat because he won the last open of the season. And then obviously winning here. And he's just looked incredible the entire time. This was supposed to be more difficult than last season. Only pros and elite players playing in this bracket. You don't have any of those amateurs. And he made it look like it was taking candy from a baby. I wrote a lot about him in my preview blog before the open started, and he was my Jake's take to win.
Oh no.
I mean, there's what more can you say for Devin Harbaugh? He's incredible, and I think he's only going to get better. More on the single side, I do want to give a shout out to Jackson Gore for a second place overall finish. He made that bag switch from BG to AR, and it was kind of a questionable front on whether he would be better or worse with a little bit of a faster bag. And obviously it seems that he is loving that switch to AR. He looks confident. He doesn't get as upset now when he misses a bag as he has in previous years past. Now we just need his brother to follow suit on that. And I like what you said, Trey. It's kind of the ebbs and flows with him and his brother. I think his brother, Jake, is going to struggle mightily with this new step over rule. And I think that is really getting into his head. And that's kind of allowing Jackson to kind of be a big brother of some sort, to kind of, pick up the pieces where Jake is struggling, be a little bit better on that front, and kind of try to motivate his brother. And that is helping his game confidence-wise as well. So I think that has something to do with his finish. So shout out to that as well.
That all you got, Jake?
Yeah, that's all I got. Sorry.
All right, cool. Just making sure. All right, we also had our women's, juniors, and seniors events, and we did add the singles and doubles for that. So our winners for women's singles is Sarah Cassidy, and she also took down doubles with Elizabeth Tennyson. Juniors, Gabriel Clausen did singles and doubles with Logan Dupler. And seniors, Ricky Jernigan took singles, and then Andy Phillips and Ricky Duffy took doubles. So congrats to all of our women's, juniors, seniors. I know it was a long day, back-to-back singles, doubles, and then with pro singles immediately afterwards. So it was a grind, and you guys did it. So congrats to everybody there. All right, moving on to news around the league. We had some new pro partnerships come together in the last week that I saw on Facebook. Kyle Malone, Tyler Stratton, David Moore, Sebastian Schaefer-Ford, Dalton McClem, Gina Ramirez, Ryan Windsor, Nico Morales, Dia Lee, and Josiah. Oh, I know this is a hard name. Anybody know this pronunciation? Arguin. Okay.
I think.
I thought it was more complicated than that. Was it Wally that told me that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So those are some of them. And then I was interviewing Pat Sem, and he is going to run it back with Kaylee. So those are some of the pro partnerships. Anything there stick out to you, Trey?
Yeah, Malone and Stratton. I don't know a lot about Tyler Stratton, so I can't really comment much other than we'll see. We've seen Kyle Malone team up with someone before that we weren't too sure about. I mean, Dalton McClem was not a surefire bet way back in 2020, but partnered up and they made it work, made it happen. So I think I think it could be something that we pay attention to, is all I'm saying. Dave Morse and Sebastian Schaefer-Ford, this is a great partnership for Dave Morse. I think Dave Morse had one of his best seasons of his career last year. He snagged someone that a lot of people are thinking can be in that Rookie of the Year conversation, and Sebastian Schaefer-Ford. So this could be a team that has some deep runs across the board. And then I think the last one I'll talk about is just Ryan Windsor and Nico Morales. I think this is a really good opportunity. Nico just needs some type of relief and consistent partner. I think the past couple of seasons he's just dealt with some up, down, left, right. He has not been able to finish the past 2 years in doubles with the same partner all year. I think going with a tried and true Ryan Windsor at least gives him some level of consistency. Whether or not they're going to be a top 5 team, I don't know, or top 10 team, I don't know. But the idea is at least he's going to have someone for the entire year, you would think. So excited to see how those two mesh together. I don't know what their ceiling is. I would say they have a pretty high floor, and I think they have a high ceiling as well. But how good of a team they can be, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
Jake?
Yeah, first thing I put, the Kyle Malone and Tyler Stratton team intrigue me the most out of the new ones that we've seen so far. They have 2 fiery personalities and 2 fiery fan bases. You say one bad or negative thing about either of these two, and they will absolutely make sure you hear it just from looking on social media and stuff like that. So, but Stratton is one of those rookies that I feel like nobody's talking about. Like Trey, you mentioned you don't know a lot about him. I don't know a lot about him either, but I've seen his play on the boards, and I've seen him. I see the stat screenshots that everybody posts on social media from him as well, and I think he has potential to be killer. Emphasis on the word potential. He's one of those low floor, high ceiling kind of guys. So we'll definitely have to see. And like you mentioned, I love the Windsor and Nico pairing. Nico's finally going to get a consistent partner, like you mentioned, in Ryan Windsor. I think they have a top 10 on my top 10 power rankings list yet, but let me see a couple tournaments with them, get a couple of them under their belts and get that chemistry working. I think that could be really well. I love the Dia and Josiah team up as well. Josiah was one of the best elite players last year. Again, not a lot of people were talking about him, but he rightfully earned his pro card. And obviously, Dia Lee coming off of a women's singles world championship. So she knows she has what it takes to win. I like them a lot. Dave Moore, Sebastian Schaefer Ford, I also like them. I really hope they have a good run because I want to see Sebastian Schaefer Ford get on a live stream just so we could talk to him. I don't know if either of you guys have ever had a conversation with Sebastian Schaefer Ford, but he is one of the most electric players we have in the pro division now. He is incredible to talk to. I love every second I have with conversating with him. So I'm intrigued with that team as well. And then, Dalton McClem, Ginny Ramirez, not a team you predicted that would team up together. So you don't really have a lot of expectations for them. And that's just what you need for a team with no expectations, to just come and blow everybody out of the water. Gina, one of the top females in the division, Dalton McClem trying to prove that he deserves to belong in the pro division again. And you never know. So I like that team as well.
Yeah, Deidre Ramirez taken as the first overall female in the draft. So I think that she would think that was a pretty big success, and proud of her for doing that. And I like that. I'm interested in the team, that's for sure. But let's go ahead and get into the draft. We went ahead and broadcasted the first 3 rounds for everybody, and then finished off with the 6 rounds, and a different format as we spoke about this year. Really looking forward to talking to the teams as the season goes on about how they're going to choose who's going to play singles, doubles, crew, tandem doubles, things like that. And it's interesting to hear some of the captains' mindsets on drafting, because they said, I already have my singles and I already have my doubles. Now I just need this or whatever. So, or I need someone for singles. So it's just very interesting to hear that strategy that was happening, and definitely different than previous seasons. And nothing to me was more interesting than the Colonel's drafting style, I guess, going super young, taking a complete 180 from previous seasons, kind of saying, screw regionality, screw age and experience, and give me the young guns. And possibly my favorite part of the draft was asking 8-year-old Cash Chamness, how he did so well the rookie showcase, and him saying, "My dad." Like, oh, as everyone's hearts melted.
Not sure what we expected putting an 8-year-old with a microphone in front of a camera like that. But
that's what Jeff said. Like, how do I interview an 8-year-old? I said, keep it simple, real simple. And I was joking with his mom afterwards, because Jeff asked what Cash thought about the Colonel's logo and if he liked it. And he kind of like paused and said, yeah. And Randy said, I don't think he knows what a logo is. So he may have not necessarily understood the question entirely, but he is definitely a corn cob now. But Trey, thoughts on the draft?
Yeah, no, I mean, the draft is always interesting. And when you talk about strategy and what people did, I think the captains went, I called them all addicts. Okay, because they are all addicts on this trade front. We had 15 pre-draft trades, and I started seeing some of them, and some of them were trading picks for picks and going crazy, and it was just they went trade crazy, right? So maybe it's worth really quick. I can dive into some of the rosters, and I know this would take a while, but at least on the we maybe go quickly team by team just to give some thoughts. But Woodchucks, Ellis, Jimmy Humans, Alec Ryan, Zach Scheibner, and Hunter Thorson, along with Jacob Trzynski. Then they go out and get Ryan Hart, Maddie McBride, Katie Bartell, Ian Cripps, and Brandon Davis. Overall, in the Woodchucks front, I actually really like this team. I think, and adding Katie Bartell and Maddie McBride, overall was really, really impressed. I like the trade to go get Ian Cripps. Overall, I was really, really impressed by what I saw on the Woodchucks, Jake. I don't know if you have any agreements or disagreements there.
No, I kind of like the Woodchucks. The Ian Cripps trade makes a lot of sense because now you have Ian Cripps and Jimmy Humans on the doubles front. You can put Jeremiah Ellis, Alec Ryan, or Zach Scheibner on the singles front for that side, and then you can kind of make up whatever you want for the tandem doubles in the Crew Cup. I think the Woodchucks have a lot of potential. They have a really high they have a high top of their team. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I think they have good potential this season.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, though, if I'm thinking through what their lineup could be, I mean, if you put Jeremiah Ellis and Jacob Trzynski in singles, is there going to be a better team that puts out those two players in singles than those?
I mean, probably not.
And then you got Jimmy Humans and Ian Cripps on one, and then you put like maybe Hunter Thorson and Scheibner, or Ryan and Scheibner, whatever combination of those two in the other doubles. Like, I mean, I actually really like that lineup of that team.
Yeah, I mean, the only two singles that I could think of just looking through, maybe a Justin Burton Jr. and a Devin Harbaugh on the Pennsylvania Ringers. I mean, maybe an Ethan Walker and a Jackson Gore for the Missouri Mays. That's a big maybe. Jamie Graham, Eric Davis, but I don't know. But yeah, the Woodchucks. I love those two singles pairings.
Aviators, you got Almanza, Birchfield, Getty, Soprenin, and Cano. They trade for Peyton Haynes and Philip Lopez Jr., draft Tyler Cobb, Chase Lester, Nate Long, Riker Wells, and Hunter Yacklin. I kind of like the returning pieces of the Aviators, but I think there's just too many question marks for me on the drafting side of it. I don't know if you two would agree with that. I mean, you're relying a lot on someone like a Riker Wells being as good as advertised in order to carry that depth across the team.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the draft. Riker Wells first round is fine, but getting a Hunter Yacklin in the second round, it means no disrespect towards Hunter Yacklin, but I feel like they could have gotten him in a third or maybe even a fourth round pick. I don't like that. I don't like him as a second round pick for the Aviators.
Going over to the Cutters, it's Chamberlain and Stranger. They brought back Leston Allen, Jake Gore, Sammy Soto, and Lexi Hugeback. Really like those keepers. I thought the big thing here, I actually think they got a steal with Austin Kipple late, who I think can be a really good player, but they are diving all in Gabriel Clausen. And I'll say this much, and this is what I'll say about Gabriel Clausen. He's a really, really talented player, and you're going to get some really high upside. I'll also say this much. I went to a cornhole tournament that was played outside, and I beat Gabriel Clausen. Trey Ryder beat Gabriel Clausen outside at a NASCAR event, okay?
That is so rude.
I am not saying this to brag on myself. What I'm saying is I am not a great cornhole player, and at least what that tells me is within the past 6 months, we have seen some inconsistency with Gabriel Clausen. If I get a first round pick, I better be certain that person is going to deliver to put a first round pick on there. So all I'm saying is I'm a little bit worried when it comes to Gabriel Clausen being a first round pick there for the Cutters.
Yeah, look, I'll admit to say that I'm one of the biggest Cutters fans out there. I don't like what they did here. I think they needed to do a whole rebuild. Like I think they overperformed last year, given the roster that they had, and I would have liked to start from scratch. I mean, you have a team captain in Justin Stranger who didn't even make it through the pro qualifier and wasn't sure if he was even going to come back as a pro. Ended up getting his pro spot back and is a team captain. So I'm not sure there. And you have other keepers like a Leston Allen. I love Leston to death, but he had to make it through the gauntlet just to get back into the pro division. So you have some of these players that are good, but when you line them up against some of these other teams, I don't think they're going to perform as well. I would have liked to see them take a route like the Kentucky Colonels did. They did a complete 180 spin. I mean, and if you look at some of these players that they drafted Cash Jamnis, I'm sorry, not where did they go? They drafted Cash Jamnis, and 3 other young bucks in the first 2 rounds. They had 4 picks in the first 2 rounds and drafted all young studs. And I think they have really turned their roster around. So I would have liked to see the Cutters do something along those lines, but they didn't. So I can't expect a lot out of the Cutters again this season, and it's pretty disappointing for me.
Going on to the Marauders, maybe Meesh, we just do 8 today, and we'll do 8 next week because we're not going to get through all 16 today. But Marauders, the Marauders did they had 1 pick in the draft? It looks like, or excuse me, just sneezed. Or they just had 1 pick in the draft, or no picks in the draft, right?
I don't think they had any picks.
Traded their way into
they
this.
put on their backpacks and hiked out of there. No draft needed.
Jordan Power, Schermerhorn, Neistat, Cassidy, and Ellis, Jaden Ellis, they keep. Keep Ferreira as well. Then they go out and get Frank Modlin via trade. They also get Caden Allen, Colby Shearer, Alex Hicks, Chad Hunt, and Tommy Sliker via trade. This is a really, really deep team. I would say this is going to have the team with the most depth by far. However, do they have enough upside, right? If I look at this team, and I'll ask you straight up, Jake, is there anybody on this team that's going to win our 2 singles events if I put them against people's 1 and 2s against other singles? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. But it's almost like one of those things where you think, do you kind of sacrifice 2 players for singles and then stack your other 3 teams to try to win this series that way, or get as many wins as possible from that front? Because you'll see other teams who will put their 2 best players out in singles, get those automatic wins, and then kind of fill out the rest of the lineup with whatever. But you could see the Marauders doing it the exact opposite way, where you put a stacked Crew Cup team. I mean, looking at this, could you imagine a Crew Cup team of Jordan Power, Sarah Cassidy, Jaden Ellis, or I mean, you could put any 4 of these guys. Any 4 of these guys, I think, could win a Crew Cup team, and then a tandem doubles team, and then 2 other doubles teams. Or 1 other doubles team. Excuse me. So I think you could see it the other way, where you kind of just you don't care about singles and you worry about Crew Cup doubles and tandem doubles.
Yeah, I it's just something I'm a little bit. I love the depth. This is going to be the most versatile team. This is going to be the team that's going to be easiest if they're not doing well to be able to pivot and make some really, really good adjustments. They will be the most flexible. They are the deepest team. I'm just worried about those top-heavy players being able to contribute. Over under the Sliders, you have Ryan Smith, Cameron Belvin, Bobby Hunt, Ryan Wiedenfeld coming back. They traded away Terry Mathis. They draft Logan Hall, Riley Schaff, Carter Bennett, Cooper Bingham, David Brown, Ben Brown, Navarro Dip, Logan Dupler, and Trevor Kufis. This is a team, I think, when you look at their top 10, like those that they're going to play, I actually really do like, and I think they have some upside here. Having Logan Dupler in that first round, I think, was a good pickup by then. They're able to get Riley Schaff. Cameron Belvin is going to be a big focal point of their team. And you know what's crazy is, look, as much as I hated them last year, they got Logan Hall in the 6th round. I mean, they got a last year's first-round pick in the 6th round this year. I mean, I get it. Hall didn't perform, but he at least showed last year that he has the skills in order to compete. So if he has a bounce-back season, that could be one of those pieces that makes a really strong difference in the team in the long run.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, I think Logan Hall in the 6th round is the steal of the draft. We all agree he had a very lackluster season last year, and he agrees as well. I've seen multiple social media posts about how upset, mad, and frustrated he was at how he performed last season. So I really think this could be a get-back season for Logan Hall, and I love that he dropped down to the 6th round for the Sliders, because that is a heck of a pickup for the Georgia Sliders. I love Logan Dupler. I mean, really all of these pickup except for Ben Brown is really good, but yeah, this Georgia Sliders team is going to be really good.
Jake doesn't hold grudges at all.
Oh, Jake. Jake. Moving over into, how many have we done? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 6, 7, 8, 3 more. So Arizona Burn. This one is Chris Roybal, Landon Crabtree, Derek Holland, Jeff Reynolds, and Corey Morrison. They're able to get Hayden Gonzalez, Zach Aiken, Candler Bagg, Trevor Brooks, Tristan Deese, Gabe Dolan, Lucas Householder, and Gina Ramirez. All right, so I like this a lot for a number of different reasons. One, I think some teams underestimated the value of having to start a woman on one of these different roles. They were able to get one of the top ones in Gina Ramirez. A little bit of bias, maybe we'd say. Like, you can make an argument, maybe you should, you could have gone a different direction, maybe. But regardless, you got a really strong top-level female there. You got one of the stars of the rookie showcase very, very late in Lucas Householder. You don't need to worry about him. You didn't get out there and use your first pick on him, but you still got someone that I think was the second best player in the entire rookie showcase. And that is really, really important, a nice piece to add. You got young level talent. You got Hayden Gonzalez and Zach Aiken alongside Candler Bagg. There's some talks about Candler Bagg, whether or not he's going to be able to commit, blah, blah, blah. But if he's able to play, those are really, really good players that have high skill levels. Those are younger talents that may be able to give your team the boost that it needs. So in the end, I really like the pieces. And then you kind of have the energy and, for what it's worth, Trevor Brooks, when it comes to teams, Trevor Brooks was made for teams. This is what he's made for. And you're getting a solid piece on there that's going to be able to be a vocal leader and someone that's going to be able to motivate people to play really, really well. I like this draft a lot for the Burn.
Yeah, I agree. It's another one of those, I think, top-heavy teams. You look at this top couple, Chris Roybal, Landon Crabtree, Derek Hollins. I mean, I may even throw Jeff Reynolds in there. I mean, he didn't have a great season last year, but he still consistently has one of the more higher PPRs in the pro division. I mean, I love this team. Chris Roybal coming off a fantastic new bag company, new partner. I think he has a really high ceiling this season. Derek Holland coming off the best pro season of his career with Alex Rawls. I think that this team is really top heavy. I think this team is going to compete. A lackluster season after making the overall finals 2 seasons ago for the Arizona Burn. They're looking to make the playoffs again, and I think they can do that with this roster.
Then going on to the Kentucky Colonels, we alluded to this. This is a weird draft strategy here, but they went completely opposite. So they brought back Matt Guy, Justin Rule. They brought back Damon Dennis, traded him away, but Sam Finley, Brett Guy. Then they added Emax, Ethan Farias, Mike Jacquis, Trey Hunt, Cash Chamness, Cameron D'Ambrosio, Mason Trader, Tyler Stratton, and Rosie Streaker. So you have 2 top women and Sam Finley and Rosie Streaker. I like that addition there. And then they went with the young guns and they did it in a number in quantity, right? So Emax, Cameron D'Ambrosio, Cash Chamness, and Mason Trader. They went all in on those 4. And I have no idea if it's going to be a good idea or a bad idea.
Is that their crew? Can you imagine that?
Shout out to the Colonels. Shout out to the Colonels because they identified, it's kind of what Jake said about the Cutters and what do you want them to do. Matt Guy and Justin Rule said, we need to start over. I have no idea if this is going to work well. I don't know if this is the right strategy, but we're going to do something completely different than what we did in previous years. And they took the leap. So I give them credit for it of hitting the reset button. And it's just time will tell if it pays off.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. This team has nothing but question marks on it. On paper, it looks good, but in reality, you're not sure what these 4 first and second round draft picks are going to do. I mean, led by Matt Guy, obviously he's one of the most tenured, veterans in the game of cornhole. So, you got a good leader on that end, but so I like the pairing. You got like a Cash Jamness, just 8 years old. So you got some good role models under your wing. I mean, we say it a lot. I think this has a high ceiling, low floor potential for the Kentucky Colonels. But again, until we see the team in action, we don't really know what we're going to get. But it looks really good.
Last team, this is the Florida Freeze. And look, I hyped them up last year. I'm going to do it again. This is the last time I'm going to do it. If this Florida Freeze team, listen, if you guys don't win the team's championship or come in second, I'll give you second place. This is a fail, okay? The eight of the 10 players that they are going to start on their roster is absolutely filthy, folks. You have Alex Rawls, Matthew Sorrells, Cheyenne Bubenheim, Chris Kingsbury, Alan Rawls, Blaine Rozier, Fisher Hamilton, and Jeremy Frazier. Okay? That is absolutely disgusting. That's 8. Then they add Anthony Eastridge, Tyler Goodwin, and Curtis Haddix. You throw in the fact that they can pull an elite player from the state of Florida, one of the toughest competitive regions in the entire country. You can pick one, handpick the one out of the state of Florida that you want. Outrageous. 8 of these 10 players that they will start are some of the best in the entire world. You add in that, and then really you just need Anthony Eastridge, Tyler Goodwin, and Curtis Haddix to play a good Crew Cup game. You need to throw like 8 bags the entire game. Like just stay in the middle of the board. That's all I'm asking you to do. Like it is outrageous to me how they can continue to build back to this. They let go Jeremy Frazier and then turned back around and got him in the 3rd round. This is a top 50 player in the world we just got after all of the keeps. Jeremy Frazier falls to the 3rd round. Absolutely outrageous, folks. The Freeze, you can skip my hot take. Freeze, Trey gives up on teams if the Freeze don't make the finals of the
We're closing down teams forever.
Oh man. Look, I like the Freeze roster, but I mean, I guess I don't like it as much as Trey does. I think the Freeze lost the Fisher Hamilton trade. I mean, you give up your 1st and 2nd round picks for Fisher Hamilton. I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't think he was worth both of those picks. So they didn't really pick up anybody significant in the draft. I mean, I like Anthony Eastridge, but he's another one of these question mark kids. You don't really know what you're going to get out of him. He is the advanced doubles reigning world champion, so shout out to that. But I mean, on paper, this team looks good, but the team looked good last year too, and they underperformed. So I mean, we're holding them to a super high standard. We expect big things, and if we don't get them, something's got to change.
Let me put this lineup together for you. Singles, Alex Rawls, Fisher Hamilton. Doubles, Chris Kingsbury and Alan Rawls. And then the other doubles, we alternate between who's doing better in tandem doubles between Blaine Rozier and Matt Sorrells and Cheyenne Bubenheim and Jeremy Frazier. 2 teams that have played together literally all the time. And then the other 2, you put them on a Crew Cup team where I need to throw in one of the best elite players in the country based on the state of Florida, and then one of Anthony Eastridge, Curtis Haddix, and Tyler Goodwin, whoever's throwing the best that particular weekend. That lineup is stupid. Okay? The only way where this falls apart is if Fisher Hamilton doesn't have a great season again. And I don't see that to being the case. I think he's going to be back and just as good as he was 2 years ago. And if that happens, watch out.
Okay. You said that same thing last year, so we'll see what happens.
Oh my goodness. Well, Trey gave his hot take, and according to Trey, it's not hot, but according to Jake, it is hot. So it's up to you to decide if that's actually a hot take. All right, Jake, you got one?
Yeah, I do. I think Devin Harbaugh will break the all-time record for open wins in a single season this year. He's already got one under his belt, and I think he's going to not only pass Mark Richards for most all-time, but most in a single season. Book it.
All right. I liked what the Kentucky Colonels did. I know we're saying it's a question mark. I'm going to remove the question mark and say that this is going to work out well for them and they will have their best season making it to the playoffs. I think that those young 4 kids on a Crew Cup team even would be insane and scary to play. So I like the Kentucky Colonels. So I give them my approval this season. All right. That's all we got time for. We will continue with our draft recap next week and the rookie showcase recap. So look forward to that, and we'll see you next time.